Alrighty, I think we are about to be live. Maybe? Hello? There we go. Alright. And welcome back. We are on part 2 of my little Stormblood adventure with little Shara Galvas Renage here. Alright. She says the same thing. Everyone probably says the same thing, so let's just talk to Conrad. Owing to the efforts of you all, we have accomplished a great deal in a short time. The Resistance thanks you for your service, Scions. I see operations have been proceeding at pace in my absence. Welcome back, brother dearest. I take it your efforts to gather new recruits were successful. Indeed, there were several amongst the Scions' ranks that were quite eager to take part in our joint endeavor with the Resistance, whom I have come to present. Look at Arenvald, he's so precious. Commander Kemp, if I may, my name is Arenvald Lentius, Latinus. I am here to fight for a free Ala Mhigo, for an Ala Mhigo where women like my mother are never made to suffer. I pray you grant me this honor. You are a true-born son of Gyr Albania, same as me. It is not my honor to grant, but yours to freely take. Welcome, brother. With our swelling ranks, the aids over the Eorzean Alliance and the Scions of the Seventh Dawn, I believe we will soon be in a position to seize the initiative. Once our new recruits have received sufficient training, I propose to General Aldin that we draw up plans for an assault on Castellum Velodina. Then, in the meantime, we will make what preparations we can. Meanwhile, in the Royal Palace of Ala Mhigo, Daddy dearest! Right, the Imperial Province National Anthem, which for some reason has the exact same tune as the Ala Mhigo National Anthem. Look at him with his helmet on. You can't see his face, but you can see his beautiful hair! Doing his duty because he doesn't know what else to do. He finds no joy, no fulfillment in any of this, but he does it because it's all he knows to do. Excuse me while I potentially wax eloquent about Xenos because I love him. Ah, he took his helmet off. Look at this gorgeous man. Look at him, he's so gorgeous.
Alliance forces have occupied Castrum Orients and taken up positions along the length of the wall. Our patrols have engaged their reconnaissance parties on site, but there have been no significant exchanges, save one. A unit tasked with field testing prototype Magitech weapons was attacked. The weapons were destroyed, with the unit sustaining near-total casualties.
Near-total? Go on.
My lord, there was but a single survivor from the unit in question, which falls under my command. According to his report, they were ambushed by a contingent of Eorzean Alliance regulars, abetted by Resistance insurgents.
A simple ambush and only one survivor. A fine day's work.
I love Xenos.
The stubbornness to survive is not without worth. He may live. However, the 12th is no place for the weak.
He shall be relegated at once, my lord. As you say, the 12th is no place for cowards who count their lives more precious than the cause.
Watch what you're saying, dude. Use your brain.
Indeed, indeed. We have no need of cowards.
Oh, goodness. I love how Ferdola's the only one not in proper armor.
My lord,
Cowards. Who defer critical missions to their subordinates, who hide within their castra, never meeting their prey in battle, never staring into the whites of their eyes.
Xenos has a point.
Why? When confronted with a heretofore unknown icon, did we surrender the wall to the Alliance? Because my honored father, in his infinite wisdom, has not seen fit to grant us leave to march on their lands. Accordingly, we have extended an invitation to our neighbors. Gir Abania is where we shall host them. The field upon which we shall enjoy the sport of kings.
Love how it's Daddy won't let us go play at our friend's house, so we invited them over here.
Paramount. Cornered animals may have spirit, but they are ultimately predictable and very poor sport. But if one dangles the promise of freedom before them while nipping at their heels to stoke their passion, then things become interesting. It is a delicate dance, one which asks much of the hounds. And so I put the question to you, my fellow huntsman. How shall we deal with these savages?
My lord, I have a proposal.
Silence, Ala Mhigo. You do forget yourself. Only by the grace of Lord Van Baelsar were you afforded a place here, and that in name alone. We have no need of your proposals, savage.
This savage yearns to hunt her own. The floor is yours, Commander.
Thank you, my lord.
Hello. Salutations. You're here to watch this girl eventually fight her father. He's coming. He's coming for her. I feared it would take longer to rouse the people into action after the disaster at the wall, but it seems our countrymen are not so easily discouraged. Change is on the horizon, my friends. Arnveld is not much older than I am. We would often chat about this and that whenever I paid a visit to the Waking Sands. I knew he had strong feelings about Ala Mhigo and the occupation, but mayhap I underestimated his passion. Come on, look at my friend. There we go. We won't have much time to train the new recruits, but we'll make the most of it. The Resistance will need every able-bodied man and woman in the field if we're going to take Veladina. Minago did well to spread word of our victory in East End. Hardly a day goes by without some would-be recruit arriving, inspired by the tale. Long ago did I resolve never to again take up sword or spear, at first for sport and then entirely. But a chance encounter with young Arenvald served to remind me that not all battles are as empty as those fought upon the blood sands. For a long time I struggled to make sense of that day at the Waking Sands. Why I survived when Abba and Ali didn't. Not anymore. Alphino asked for volunteers, and so here I am. First Ishgard, now Ala Mhigo, eh? No rest for the righteous. It's all happening so fast. Isn't it exciting? Right then. I've got duties to attend to. Mayhap we could assist you with said duties. We are here to help, after all. The three of us have been so busy, I will understand if you require time to rest. If not, however, it would seem sensible to assist our allies with their preparations. We'd be grateful for any and all help you can offer. If you ask around, I guarantee you won't want for work. Alrighty. You! I beg your pardon? The woman who bested Gaius van Balsar wishes to offer me her assistance? I say, this is highly irregular, though I have heard it said that you have a penchant for aiding the common man, in which case... Before the occupation, I was a humble historian. While my duties leave me scarce time for aught else, I think it important that these momentous events be recorded for the benefit of future generations. Primary sources are indispensable, and I had in mind to question a number of my fellow freedom fighters, ask them their motivations for taking up this cause, and so forth. You may take down their statements in this log, and, Shara, thank you for your service, now and ever after. I was just a cook before all this. Simple fare, really. Had a chance to lend a hand and help feed some refugees one day. I took a liking to the fighters. They believed, you know? And there's always a need for cooks, or at least people who can work with whatever foraging parties turn up. Why? Why indeed. To save lives, perhaps, or to make amends for the ones I couldn't. My father and my brothers were worked to death while building the castrum. What did it matter to the Garleans, eh? More where that lot came from. After that, I couldn't keep on doing nothing. Aren't you the Icon Slayer? Damned if I know why you'd bother asking someone like me why I joined the Resistance, but it's simple. If I wasn't fighting for Ala Mhigo, I'd be fighting for the Empire. Either you're with them or you're not, and if you're with them, you might as well make the most of it. Food, training, citizenship, if you live long enough, you'll die stealing someone else's land, like as not, but that's the choice. But me? I'd rather die here. I don't think I've ever noticed this little alcove before. Why'd I join the Resistance? Well, if you must know, it was to avenge a friend the Imperials butchered before my very eyes back in Ala Mhigo. We owned a stall in the markets, and a passing soldier snatched up a piece of fruit. He spoke out before I could stop him, only to get a foam of steel in the gut for his troubles. I found my way here, and that was that. Well met, Shara. Have you spoken with the freedom fighters as I asked? As fascinating as they are varied. You have a knack for convincing others to bare their hearts to you. I could not have done better myself. Many years from now, when these tempestuous times pass into memory, their accounts will serve as a window into the struggle. We must never forget, my friend. Never. Not that Shara understands any of that. But then Shara wasn't actually living the story. She's just imagining as her mother recounts it to her. You want to help, do you? Seeing as how I'm in no position to leave the stew pot unattended, could you go and ask Tebby for a variety of herbs? 6 sprigs or so of whatever he's got on hand should suffice. It's not as haphazard as it may seem. Depending on the recipe, it doesn't really matter what sort you add, as long as you add something. I'll be here when you get back. Herbs, is it? 6 sprigs of whatever's on hand. Afraid I can't spare that much. You'll take 2 and be glad of it. The remainder you'll have to gather yourself. Shouldn't be too much of a bother, though. You'd be surprised what you can find growing underfoot, even in the Reach. We gotta go looking in the dirt for plants. Hopefully none of these plants are poisonous. I can't believe there's a company chest here in Ralger's Reach. It's just like there's so few company chests. There's like no company chest available in any like Heavensward areas. Pretty sure there's not any in any Shadowbringers areas. And I don't think there were any in any Endwalker areas. And yet there's one here in the Reach and there's one in Kugane. And it's just like, really? They just decided to give us extra company chests. I mean, not that I'd complain, but I'd really like it if they put more freaking company chests in, you know, other major cities. It would be really nice of them. Especially when you just want to snag a dye pot or some ingredients or whatever your company keeps stored in them. Spare clothes. Yes, my free company keeps all sorts of weird junk in our chests. But, you know, it's because we'd have nowhere else to put it, and we might as well share it. Oh, there you are. Got those herbs I asked for? Thanks, that'll do nicely. And, sorry to impose on you, miss. I thought you were another new recruit. Didn't realize until after that you were, But to answer the question that's probably on your mind, yes, it's always like this. Never enough food or supplies to go around. All the more reason to be grateful when our countrymen can spare some for the cause. Though that comes at a cost too. Too many villagers, too many children more deserving than us. But a man can't fight on an empty stomach, can he? So we partake as we must, and we must never lose sight of the dream. Alright, the last one I believe is the Sananta over here. Snake ladies. You look like a strider in search of comrades in need. If so, I have a task for you. I am a trainer and was told to expect new recruits this day, yet nary one has come. Perhaps they were given the wrong time or location. I do not know. They number 5 in all, these would-be warriors. Send them unto me, should you chance to find them. Alright, time to look for them. All 5 of them didn't show up in time for training. Court-martial! Court-martial! Oh wait, we're not the Empire. I know I'm late, but I had to say a prayer for my sister first. After what the Imperials did to her, death was a mercy. There you are. Punching a rock. Huh? Training? God, I was so busy practicing to impress the others that I completely forgot. Thank you. Punching a rock, huh? If that's what you deem a worthy foe, then who am I to question? Ah, 1,000 pardons. I was so preoccupied was I by the question of whether Ala Mhigo should be a monarchy or a republic, that I neglected to attend my training. How silly, I know. Until we drive the Imperials from our lands, that question is moot. The teacher calls for me. I see. We were discussing strategies for disabling Magitech armor, you see, and... Ah, yes, of course, there is no time. If you would excuse me. Oh, bugger. You were sent by the snake, weren't you? I heard 1 in 4 recruits don't live through their training. That can't be true, right? Oh, bugger, oh, bugger. Well then. Okay. She didn't seem that scared of me. All recruits are present and accounted for. My thanks to you, Strider. Not all appreciate the rigor with which I train my recruits. Some favor a gentler approach, as if the Imperials would be so kind. 'Tis a thankless job to teach, some say, but I say their survival is thanks enough. Fare you well. Oh, all the hissing. Oh, what are we, cats? I mean, I'm a cat, but still. Damn it all, where could it have got to? Oh, pardon me, fellow lover of freedom and justice. You haven't seen a ward of the Destroyer anywhere, have you? Maybe on the ground, as if a certain bloody fool had dropped it? Aye, I'd been him. I had it this morning, I know that much for certain, and I've not left the Reach since, so it's got to be here somewhere. If you've got a moment to spare, would you be willing to help me with my search? I spent some time near the Temple of the Fist earlier, so it might be there. As for me, I'll look around near the officer's pavilion. They're hardly rare, I know, and I could just as easily buy another, but even so, please help me find it. Okay. Sentimentality is another thing Sherrod has no comprehension of whatsoever. Alright. There you go, buddy. Found your thing. I swear I've searched high and low, but it just won't turn up. There you go. 7! Hell's up the one! That's my lucky ward. You're a godsend, sister. Before I was born, my mother made a pilgrimage to the Temple of the Fist, where she, like many others, received the blessings of the monks. And then Theodoric came and burned it all to the ground, the mad bastard. And after him came the Garleans, who cared even less for our beliefs. But I still keep to the old ways, as do many others. When my son is born, I'll teach him the stories and the scripture, as my mother taught me. I figured it would take... Okay, you say the same stuff. Alright. And with that, another task is complete. Ah, Shara, I hear you've been keeping busy. Aye, that she has, and we have her to thank for it. And we thank her for it. It pleases me to inform you that our recruits have completed their initial training and stand ready to contribute. As discussed, Minago, I would have you present my proposal for an assault on Castellum Velodina to General Alden personally. Of course, sir. Are you and yours planning to return to Castrum Oriens before the operation? If so, why don't we travel together? That seems a fine suggestion, but I must consult my comrades ere we depart. Very well, I will wait for you at the pass, but not too long. I expect Kryla and Yustola will wish to remain here to support the Chirurgeons, but nevertheless we should go ask them. Chirurgeon! That's always a fascinating word to say. Been to the peaks and back, have you? Glad to see you're in good health. Is Autumnus? We're just heading back to Oriens. I see. That would explain the sudden flurry of activity outside. This joint operation marks a turning point in our conflict with Garleans. For the first time, the Resistance and the Alliance shall go on the offensive and attempt to capture an Imperial outpost in occupied territory. Personally, I believe it is imperative that we offer them our full support. As was the case with Ishgard, however, this is not a choice to be made lightly, nor less on others' behalves. This is war, and every scion must decide what part he or she would play. I'll fight. For Ala Mhigo, for my father, for Ida. I'm in it to the end. The choice was made for us ere we were born, brother, when the Empire marched on Eorzea. They will stop at nothing to subjugate or slaughter us all. Van Baelsar and Van Darnus were but the first to try. Though your fervor is surprising, I cannot dispute your logic. At the risk of repeating myself, I am, of course, of the same mind. The present situation is untenable and further complicated by the existence of Ilbert's primal. I believe we've no recourse but to directly and openly intervene. I thought this a foregone conclusion given our actions thus far, but if you require renewed affirmation, then yes, I am still wholly committed to this cause. For it is ultimately the self-same cause I have served since first I pledged to serve Master Louis Sois in the Circle of Knowing, the salvation of Eorzea by any means necessary. That said, I shall refrain from taking the field on this occasion. There are many here who require further treatment, and doubtless more to come after. I came here from Infilia, and that hasn't changed. However, I'd like to stay with Y'shtola for now and tend to the wounded. As for you, Shara, you are, to quote our dear friend Lord Edmont, the woman who slew Gaius van Baelsar and some half-dozen primals besides. Your presence may well prove the difference between victory and defeat. Many look to you as a hero and heap great expectations upon your shoulders, but you, like every scion, must decide for yourself. As long as there's a battle to be fought, I'll be there. That's a Shara thing to say. Ha! Ever the adventurer. You live for these moments, do you not? Take care, Y'shtola, Kryl, and don't hesitate to contact us should you require assistance. Lise, I would ask that you remain here by Conrad's side. We should go, or Managa will leave without us. Might I persuade you to join us, Shara? Should you wish to give your decision further consideration, Castor Morians would seem an apt place to do it. You need not answer right away. I am sure I can convince Managa to wait a little longer. Best make sure you've got everything you need. We might not be coming back for a while. Grandfather stood with the army that faced the Garleans at Cartano. This is dangerously close to becoming a family tradition. So you will be accompanying us? Full glad am I to hear it. All set? Excellent. Then let us be off. Riding through the rocky Garalbania again. It is amusing how there's lush vegetation and, you know, dense forest, and then it very quickly fades into this rocky wasteland desert place. Although, given the scrub trees, it seems like there used to be more, like, woods over here. So perhaps the calamity dried it up or something. I mean, there was the flood that happened, but I'm not sure it would cause this much devastation for this long, and again, make such a really notable, harsh divide here. It's just kind of odd. Just attracting all the friends, aren't I? out of curiosity. Nope. Alright, no blue quests. These quests, particularly in this area, the fringes, are very, like, the ones that give you Aether Currents are very interesting and have very, like, almost necessary lore for things that are referred to later in the game. It's like, if you don't do these quests, you are missing out on quite a few certain important details. I'm just saying. You should do them and you should pay attention to them. A pleasure to meet you, Shara. I oversee the Adder operations here in the Elder Seatseer's stead. Rest assured that our scouts were handpicked from elite ranks of God's Quiver and Wood Whalers. If the Imperials take so much as one step into East End, we will know. Greetings and well met, Private Galvashranaj. I have been dispatched from Limsil Mensa to command the Maelstrom forces here. This campaign has taken us quite far from the shores of Vilbrand, though the logistics of a prolonged deployment have been the source of much consternation. I prefer to view it as an opportunity to strengthen ties with our allies and to study their methods. I heard Relgar's Reach is overrun with new recruits. Did I not tell you that we needed only to inspire the people to rise up once more? Yes, yes, Small Shulk, you know things. Welcome back, comrades. What news? Greetings, General. I am come at Commander Kemp's behest to brief you on the latest developments in the Reach. Our recruitment efforts have exceeded expectations. In addition to welcoming many motivated young Ala Mhigans, our ranks have been bolstered by the arrival of a number of experienced veterans, thanks in large part to the efforts of the Scions. As a consequence, we are now able to field half a dozen new recruits, with more being trained as we speak. Good. I gather Comrade is eager to strike while the iron is hot? Just so, General. He proposes that we begin preparations for a joint operation to capture Castellum Veladina. Capture Veladina? That will not be easy. It will, however, be necessary if we are ever to push east toward the capital. There is no profit in delay. It is only a matter of time before the Galleons learn of our plans and summon reinforcements. The Alliance hereby accepts Commander Kemp's proposal. Tell him to take no chances. Bring every able-bodied Ala Mhigan who can wield a weapon. Pippin, I want Veladina watched. Assess its defenses. Every fortress has a weakness, and I would know this one's. If there is no objection, General, might the Scions join Marshal Taropin? By all means. If that is all, let us be about it. An accurate assessment of their strengths and weaknesses will be key to success. Measure twice, cut once, as the Gridanian carpenters are so fond of saying. Taking Veladina will be the first significant step toward wresting Ala Mhigo from the Empire's grasp. But make no mistake, there will be many more such steps, each taken at a cost. A castellum is less a military installation and more a supply depot, a storage and distribution facility for the surrounding area. That being the case, taking it will not only earn us a strategic foothold, but deprive the enemy of a valuable resource. Conrad and the General are of one mind, it seems. I only wish I could say the same. While this aggressive strategy may well profit us in the end, what losses will we suffer in the meantime? Anyway, we should speak with the Vice Marshal about this reconnaissance mission, and see how he would like to proceed. Thank you for volunteering to join me. This is a fairly straightforward reconnaissance mission, so long as we do not have the ill fortune to run afoul of an Imperial patrol. Come, our destination is beyond East End, just north of Veladina. Boop, boop. Brum, brum. Brum, brum, brum. Pass all the aggressive leshies. All the Leshies want to eat my tail. Big ol' bears. And this town, which is significant to the thing I was referring to earlier about the side quest, giving a lot of very important lore details that you shouldn't miss. Antlions. Angry antlions. Alright. I drew one anyway. Fine. Even should they be unaware of our plans, I would be surprised if their western defenses were not heavily fortified, given the presence of allied forces at the wall. Naught appears out of the ordinary at a glance. This ought to be close enough. Now we settle in for a long watch. That said, it would be prudent to keep your weapons at the ready in the event a passing patrol stumbles upon us, or worse. Several cutscenes will play in sequence! Yay! Set aside sufficient time! Yay! The best warning! Everyone loves that warning!
Excellent. The disposition of the Imperial forces is exactly as expected. I will notify Father. Cannon fire! Where did it come from?
Smoke! There! Is that... Oh gods, it's Relga's Reach.
It's no use. I think someone's jamming our communications.
You don't think... Could this be part of a coordinated attack?
Too early to draw conclusions. We must abort the assault and return to the Reach at once.
Funny how Forjola's the only one not in any sort of proper armor. She's got some armor, but she's
no quarter!
Compared to the rest, she is somewhat scantily clad. Even her own fellow skulls.
You! Traitor! Kinslayer!
You're no kin of mine!
Meffred's dead. Rip in pieces.
it!
Gotta say, at least has guts. Oh, well, any pugilist monk has guts to run in unarmed against someone with a blade or a gun. And there he is! He has arrived.
Well, well. Stand aside, pilots. This one has promise.
Have a care, my lord. She's not like the others.
Do not disappoint me, girl, or I will kill you.
This is definitely one of Shura's favorite parts of her mom's story. Just saying. Well, every fight against her dad is probably her favorite part of the story.
Hells. It's him. It's Xenos.
The Viceroy! Oh, you are a dead man!
Yeah, good luck with that lease.
Ah!
Well, that was a yell.
So spirited, and yet so empty.
Is it just me, or do they make Xenos bigger as time goes on, like taller? I may just be imagining it.
Please run!
And yet she doesn't. She just sits there.
Magical barrier. Alas. It will not save you.
I mean, it's Xenos. He's practiced against
Hold the line,
every
Baroga.
potential weakness
Hold
of
the
his.
line.
He has studied quite well. Very thoroughly. He wouldn't be a master tactician if it wasn't for study.
Cryle!
Alphino!
We saw the smoke and thought we heard explosions. Are we under attack?
The Imperials were all over us before we realized what was happening. No one knew where to run or what to do. It was chaos.
Minago's injured
Lucy
again.
and Master Kemp rallied the guards and bought us enough time to get some of the wounded to safety, but I haven't seen either of them since.
Confound it! If we lose the Reach, this will all have been for naught.
Arenvold, can you escort these people to the wall?
Aye, sir.
Our place is at the Reach. We must offer such aid and succor as we are able. Saving lives is now our paramount concern.
If we can hold back the Imperials until Father sends reinforcements, we may yet turn the tide.
I'll join you. I've done all I can for these people, and you'll be crying out for a healer in there.
Come, Cryo, but don't get injured.
I fear you're right. Come, there is no time to lose.
go find Daddy.
It's all over now.
All the damage. Straggler's still alive, surprisingly enough. Alright. Forward. Where is he? Where is he?
For the glory of the flames!
Thank you, Small Shulk. Ford Corolla.
Rebel scum!
Come on, lock onto someone closer. There we go. Bet they were fighting someone else and I just left them behind. Lol. Rip. I was just a little too eager. Still just looking for Daddy.
What took you so long? Alpha, no, I need your help!
Y'all get to healing. I have to go fight my father.
My lord, the prisoners!
See to your men, Pylus.
As you command, my lord.
Look at that hair. That beautiful hair.
Your friends were a disappointment. But you will entertain me, will you not?
Bring it on. This time, I will best you, father! I may have never beaten you before, but I will beat you this time!
At one!
Be gone! Give me something to remember.
Oh, this is bad. Alright, let's go over here. Whee! Ow. Okay, I'm fine. Taking your time, coming over to me menacingly. Your fighting style sure has changed over the years, Dad. Ah, this is gonna hurt. Could not get out of that in time. I'm fine.
Don't stop now.
I will keep coming back for more. I will keep on fighting. Ow. Ow. No, I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. I can keep fighting. Snap.
Pathetic.
Daddy. Daddy, come back. We're not done.
7 hells.
Shall we give chase, General?
Nay. There has been enough death this day. See to the wounded. Aye, sir. You all right, lass?
Think my pride might have taken a knock. Nah. Next time he'll pay.
Aye, I do not doubt it.
Don't you die on me, Ashola! Hold on!
She not dying anytime soon, I promise.
Don't
Despite
worry,
how many
it's going
times she
to be
picks us
all
out.
right. Alphino, Master Kemp is all yours.
Now that I think of it, pretty
Understood.
sure Y'shtola has faked us out on a death just about every expansion. I'm pretty sure she has.
Don't just stand there gawping. Hold her down while I work.
Hold her down, but she's not thrashing or anything. Why need to hold her down? I'm confused by your order, Kryl. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Y'shtola has faked us out with near-death experiences pretty much every expansion.
The worst is past, but without the proper facilities, I can do no more.
Master Kemp too would be better served in the infirmary. Let us take them there without delay.
Give us a hand, would you, Lise? Of course. I know you must be exhausted, but there will be others who need our help. Leave these two to us and look to the other wounded.
But must go pursue my father and fight him again. Our fight is unfinished. Must go fight. You did well, Shira. You saved lives. No matter what happens, remember that. Now then, let us do what we can for the wounded. Every minute counts. See to the wounded, Shira. If they live, help them. If not, move on. God damn it, Meffred. Weren't you the one telling me to use my head and stay alive? Meffred lies motionless, having breathed his last. Clenched in his fist is a small charm, which you take for safekeeping. He was already cold when I got to him. There was naught I could do. That charm must have been important. You'd best take it to Comrade. Be a reckoning, mark my words. At least the chocobos are fine. If it wasn't for her, it'd be me lying there. I wish it was. You're worried about Ystola, aren't you? It's too early to make any kind of prognosis, but she's alive. For now. She needs to stop faking us out. She dies. She keeps pretending to die. Over and over again. It makes no sense. He brushed us aside as if we were nothing. Damn it, Alice. This is serious. You need rest. You seem ready to burst into tears. I'd fetch you a handkerchief, but... Meffred? Monago? Meffred? Where are you? This is... He's dead, isn't he? Meffred was a warrior, always thinking about others before himself. He once had an Imperial patrol chase him nigh on 20 malms so that his wounded would have time to escape. His comrades loved him for it, of course, though that only made him worry more. Did you know he sent his men in Quarry Mill away because he thought they were fighting for him and not the cause? Aye, well, he did. The only life he was willing to risk was his own, you see. But that's exactly the kind of man who should be a leader. The kind of man who deserves to survive, not an old fool who's all used up. There's no logic to it, Master Kemp. There never is. Who stands, who falls? In the heat of battle, we can but do our best, as he did. Meffred will be sorely missed, aye, but because of his sacrifice, many now live who would otherwise not. And they need us, now more than ever. Aye, that they do. Forgive me, I had high hopes for him, is all. Our defeat was no near thing. It was total, a humiliation. We were powerless to withstand our enemy's assault. But we cannot afford to dwell on our failure. As Alphino said, it is those who survived whom we must think of now. Ralgar's Reach is no longer safe. The Imperials may have withdrawn, but they could return at any time to finish what they began. We dare not remain here. Those who are not fit to make the journey to Castrum Oriens will need to be taken by chocobo carriage. Agreed? Good. I shall oversee the preparations for the carriages. In the meantime, I would have you scour the infirmary for any supplies that might prove useful during the journey. Shallan was so exhausted she could barely stand and walk, practically stumbling every second. And Shara can't understand that. There's a lot of things Shara can't understand. Forgive me, but it is imperative that I continue preparing medicines for the wounded. If you desire treatment, I must ask that you seek it elsewhere. I'm just looking for supplies. Oh, I see. In that case, you are free to search the barber and take that which you require. I would not have our people dying en route. I would assist you, but this process demands my undivided attention. Oh, you're a side quest. Okay. Miss, Marshal Tarpon said you might have something for me. 12 be praised. This should put the driver's hearts at ease. Tell the Vice Marshal we await his orders. Ystola and the others are safely strapped in. Don't worry, I'll be by her side the entire time. Thank you, Kryl. I'll walk alongside. They'll need protection in case the Garleans try anything. Hang on. You're injured too, aren't you? Shouldn't you be in one of the carriages? I'm not so frail that I can't make the trip on my own. Besides, there's still work to be done here. I'll see you at the wall when it's finished. As you wish. Then let us set forth at once. We shall move as quickly as our comrades' health allows. To Castromorians. Let us pray they arrive safely. Master Kemp, your concern for your men's well-being is commendable, but I would urge you to consider your own. You saved a good many of my men, and I cannot thank you enough for that. But the fact remains our forces were decimated. In this state, we will not be mounting an assault on Castrum Velodina or anywhere else. We need to be honest with ourselves about our prospects, but first, we need to put our affairs here in order. Afterwards, I will join you at Castromorians. Understood. We will go and speak with General Alden. Rabon's still here, actually. He's not at the Oreos. For more than a decade, the Resistance has resided here, hidden from the eyes of the Empire. And just when we set our sights on Velodina, they strike. Do you not find it passing strange? I can see the Reach means a lot to these people, but it would be suicide to stay. Pippin has already departed with the wounded, has he? Good. We have completed our search of the Reach and the surrounding area. As far as we can tell, Xenos and his men returned straight away to Specula Imperatoris after quitting this place. It would seem he lost interest in us. Which brings us to the most troubling question of all. Not how he found us, but why he chose to spare our lives after having done so. In war, you kill or capture your enemy. You do not leave him to fight another day. Only a fool would turn his back and walk away. But Xenos is no fool. Whatever his motive, this is neither the time nor the place to think on it. I will leave a token force to watch over the Reach. The rest will fall back to the Castromorians. We can discuss our path forward there. Kryl is with Y'shtola. She still hasn't woken up, but Kryl says she's through the worst. Given the severity of her wound, we could have hoped for no more. Let us pray she makes a full recovery. We lost a lot of good people, didn't we? I saw it happen. When that Skull's commander cut down Mefrid. A single blow, and that was it. Everything he fought for, all his hopes and dreams for the future, gone in an instant. And do you know what the worst part? It wasn't a Garlean who did it. It was an Ala Mhigo. God's help me if I ever... No, not now. Not while the general's waiting. Elise.
Were it not for the swift actions of the Scions and the Alliance, many more would have died. You risked your lives to save ours, and for that we thank you.
There is no need for thanks. We are allies, are we not?
Aye, just so. Let us not dwell on this tragedy, but look to the future.
The future? I'm sorry, General, but there is no future for us. We've lost too many. Gods, I can still see Mefrid with that woman standing over him. They've ripped the heart out of his general. They've broken us. Our fight is over.
Master Kemp, please.
I'll always hate them with every fiber of my being. For what they took from us then and now. Our homeland, our freedom, our bloody children.
You mean the Skulls? The youths who fight for Xenos?
Crania Lupi, the Black Wolf's legacy and our shame. A unit made up of children born to Ala Mhigo dignitaries who came of age during the occupation. Sons and daughters of Gir Abania, raised to be proud citizens of the Empire, with all the rights and responsibilities that entails. It'd be easy to curse them and call them traitors, but they're our children. Our flesh and blood. If the only way to forge the future we want is to cut down our own, then...
Then what was it all for?
Nargo?
What will you say to the families of the fallen? To the mothers, and the widows, and the orphans? Will you tell them it was all for nothing?
Listen to the girl. We dare not suffer our comrades' sacrifices to have been in vain. Now is the time to steel our resolve and press on, painful though it may be.
And when Xenos comes back with his army, what then? This isn't the first time, you know. You'll be hard-pressed to find men brave or stupid enough to face him again.
I still can't believe how strong he was. He humiliated us back there. The Warrior of Light included.
Wouldn't go so far as to say
humiliated.
humiliated.
The Garlean throne.
Loath though I am to say it, we should not be surprised. Before succeeding Van Baelsar in Ala Mhigo, Xenos led the Imperial army to Doma, where he crushed the rebellion utterly.
And yet he found no joy in
Doma
it.
remains in his charge to this day. Suffice it to say, Varus's heir is a peerless warrior and an accomplished general. The question is, how are we to contend with such a foe?
This is such a Shara line. We fight and we fight and we keep on fighting until we win. It's so Shara.
Come now, even you have your limits. But then, so too must he. One legatus ruling two provinces a world apart. Yes, divide and conquer. We kindle the flames of revolution in Doma once more, thereby forcing Xenos to fight a war on two fronts.
For that, there would need to be someone left to fight on this front by the time you got back. Look, I'll not deny the plan as promised. And I feel for our brothers and sisters in Doma, truly I do. But I fear we lack the strength to see it through.
Have faith in your people, Master Kemp. Them and the Scions. Hold fast, rebuild. And when all is in place, we shall defeat Xenos together.
If you're going to Doma, I'm coming too. I want to help our friends there. And make sure nothing like this ever happens again.
Give us the time we need, and we will give you something far greater.
Very well. For all you have done for us, we will fight on. But be swift, comrades. Ala Mhigo has suffered enough.
You said your piece, yes? Now would you return to bed? You'll never recover if you carry on like this. Ye gods, the pain. It seemed like a good idea at the time. I can't deny a part of me wants to stay and fight, but I know I'd be of more use to you and the others. I've called upon Stillglade Fane to send every available conjurer, no matter how inexperienced, to help with the wounded. I pray it will be enough. If the rumors are to be believed, this is not the first time Xenos has spared his foes. They say he abides by an unusual code and takes pleasure in the fight. He finds no pleasure in fight until he finds a worthy foe. I'm just saying. These people who say he takes pleasure in the fight don't know him. They don't know him. Whatever his reasons, we must use this time to our advantage. No one knows him. No one knows him. I wish you well on your journey, my friend. Let us pray that when we meet again, our fortunes will be much changed. How in Lamalin's name did they find the Reach? I thought their glamours were impenetrable. We've got a long road ahead of us, but it all begins with the first step. We'll stay in the Reach and rebuild. We'll reinforce our defenses, and if they come again, we'll be ready. So we fight on, come what may. Sentiment notwithstanding, what other choice did we have? Not least. Alfie. It goes without saying, but the Scions alone have not the strength to topple a provincial government, here or anywhere else. And I am quite certain that the same can be said of the Dome and Liberation Front. Nevertheless, we can but go and assess the situation for ourselves, and see what can be done. Lest you doubt what good we few can accomplish, I would remind you that my grandfather and his 12 disciples once journeyed these lands to save Eorzea and her people from certain doom. Brave souls with an impossible task, and Eorzea lives on. Our present mission may not be as monumental in scope, but it is no less important to the multitudes whom we would free from Imperial oppression, whom we will free. Where men go as one, there is life. Where there is life, there is cause to hope. Grandfather believed that, and so do I. But before we can forge ties with our friends in the Far East, we must first find a way to reach them. Othard is not exactly over the river and through the woods. I am one step ahead of you, dear sister, or rather, Tataru is. But before we can discuss that, there is another issue I wish to address. Much as I would like it if we could all make this journey together, someone will need to remain and serve as a liaison to the Alliance and Resistance during this critical period. Moreover, as your Stola cannot be left unattended, then I should obviously remain. Very well, issue addressed. You know, Alphino, it would have been quicker to just ask, and markedly less patronizing. Yes, I suppose. Would you be willing to look after your Stola and provide support to Arnvald and the others? Yes, Alphino, I would. You see, that wasn't hard, was it? Enjoy your trip and don't you dare return with a gift. Hello, Kryle. Oh, I would not dream of it. Right then, sister, Shara, Elise, gather your things. We are for Limsa Limensa. We've got a long road ahead of us, but always the first step. Alright, they say all the same stuff. Okay. However, we have another blue quest. Shara Galvas Renage of the Maelstrom. A moment, if you would. The Alliance has seen fit to charge the Twin Adder with overseeing the occupation of Castrum Oriums for the interim. As an adventurer, I realize you are wont to settle matters both great and small in all corners of the realm. Though it should go without saying that you must also uphold your obligations to the Maelstrom and the Eorzean Alliance. Thus, I would ask you for your aid in a reconnaissance mission here in the Fringes. Pray speak with Lieutenant Mulco when you are ready for a briefing. She will oversee the operation. A mooncat with a normal name, a pronounceable name at least. Talamoko. See, is that so hard? You freaking Sunseekers with your 12-letter names. Do my eyes deceive me? It can't be, but it is. Shara Galvas Renage, the Griffin's Bane herself. Yes, the great hero who defeated the Griffin atop Balesar's wall, bringing his plan of conquest to a shuddering halt. I can think of no other title that so aptly befits your prowess. A pity no one else seems to think so. But enough of that. But what brings the illustrious Griffin's Bane here to Castrum Oriums? Servant Marshal Brookstone has requested you assist in my investigation. This is such an honor. I'll do my best not to disappoint you. Goodness me, where are my manners? Talamulco, military records officer at your service. I cannot offer you much in the way of combat, but if you should have any inquiries regarding historical matters, you need only ask. You have my sister's hairstyle. Now then, let me apprise you of our current situation. Shortly after taking control of Castrum Oriums, we discovered a number of confidential documents left behind by the Guardians, prisoner records dating back to the beginning of Ala Mhigo's occupation. As you would have guessed, a great many were conscripted and sent away to subjugate new territories. A surprisingly large number were executed, as a reminder of what would happen should any step out of line. What we weren't expecting, however, was the number of prisoners listed simply as whereabouts unknown. We thought perhaps they met some ill fortune during their imprisonment, or even escaped, but we could find no other documents to suggest what became of them. Be they living or deceased, it is now our duty to find them. Not just for our own records, mind you, but their loved ones as well. They deserve the peace of mind knowing what happened here. Would that this were a recent incident, though. It will be no easy task ascertaining their whereabouts after 20 years, but I believe I know where we might begin our investigation. The Ananta have called these lands home long before even the Ala Mhigans came to settle here. As luck would have it, the Resistance has established cordial relations with their people. Perhaps they remember something of what happened all those years ago. I certainly hope the Ananta remember something of use. Ala Mhigan prisoners captured 20 years ago. Yes, I remember. When the Garleans gained their foothold here, they interned any and everyone. Striders, Nanta, it mattered not. Most were forced to serve in the Garlean military, dispatched to other lands from which they would never return. If I'm not mistaken, the prisoners who remained were taken to a small village to the south. I cannot say what transpired there, but the settlement was heavily guarded. I fear the worst for them. A settlement to the south? Why, that would have to be Bittermill. I recall the records of its residents seeking asylum in Gridania when the Garleans first arrived. The place was all but razed to the ground. Let's begin our search there. Perhaps something of value still remains in the rubble. This, in particular, is one of the quests that is very intriguing. It's very, very important, honestly. This place was supposed to be deserted. What are the Garleans doing here? They cannot be allowed to leave. Get them! Alright, come on, Prox. There we go. Wah! Goodness, that smarts. Perhaps I should have devoted more time to combat training, though no amount of training would make me a match for the renowned Griffin's Bane. That was an amazing display. The Garlean soldiers were certainly the last thing I expected to find in these abandoned and otherwise forgotten buildings. I managed to catch them unawares, but I'm quite certain this investigation would have ended poorly had you not arrived. Still, I found it quite curious. By all rights, the Garleans should be too busy contending with the resistance to waste time in a place like this. What were they doing here? I'm afraid our search for answers has only raised more questions. If we are to make any sense of this, we must search this place from top to bottom, after my heart returns to my chest. Okay, you can do that to calm yourself down, I suppose. Sorry to keep you waiting. I fear the battlefield is no place for a bookworm. If the gods are kind, we'll encounter no further distractions. Now, let's begin our search. We are like to cover more ground if we split up. Hopefully there's still some trace of the prisoners left here. The cloying stench of rotting debris fills your nostrils. You are unable to discern where the odor is coming from. Upon closer inspection of the ground, you see footprints. Some of them appear to be fresh. This house is much too clean to have been abandoned for 20 years. Ah, Shara, thank goodness. I found someone while inspecting the houses. He seems unwell. Unwell? Unwell? No, definitely not. Certainly not. Yes, we're quite fine, but what of you? A little girl dressed in strange clothes. Quite strange, quite strange. What? You have some nerve. Regardless of how I look, I am a ranking officer of the Order of the Twin Adder, thank you very much. Now, who are you and what business do you have here? Who? Yes, who? An excellent question. You are you, but who are we? Yes, we would like very much to know. Very, very much. You don't remember? Well, is there anything you can remember? Remember! Yes, something about this place. Something familiar, quite familiar. Sure, this is only a hunch, mind you, but I suspect he's not from this place. Considering he's Elizan, he's likely a Redanian escaped from the Garleans. Or perhaps... Could he be one of the missing prisoners? It would certainly explain the Garlean soldiers from before. They need to take him back for questioning. Excuse me, sir, but would you be willing to come back with us? At the very least, it would be more comfortable than these dilapidated houses, and we may be able to help you recover your memory. Memories. Sweet memories. Yes, we would like them very much, very much. Alright then, let's return to Castamorians. My browbeating commander will likely wish to meet you. I suppose it can't be helped. This man is not all he seems. If he really is one of the missing prisoners, this could be the defining moment of my career. If even Serpent Marshal Brookstone is sure to take notice. Possibly one of the missing prisoners, you say? I expected such wild claims from Lieutenant Mulco, but if you would corroborate her report, perhaps this warrants investigation. Until further notice, he shall stay under the protection of the Eorzean Alliance. Sir, with all due respect, you cannot just... Lieutenant Mulco, get this man a hot meal and a warm bed. When he's had a bit of rest, see what he knows of Bittermill and the Garleans. It should not be long before we reach a resolution to all this. You're free to wait here until she finishes questioning our new detainee. I imagine Lieutenant Mulco has finished questioning the detainee by now. Go and see what, if anything, she's learned. Oh, Shara, I've just finished with the questioning. Unfortunately, he can recall absolutely nothing of his past. The only thing he is certain of is he escaped from the Garlean captivity. I'm beginning to believe he really is one of the missing prisoners. But where does Bittermill fit into all this? I fear we're reaching an impasse. It's not as if we can ask the Garleans what they were doing there. Or perhaps we can. The soldier who escaped us earlier must know something to have been prowling about the area. He has been taken into custody. Come, Shara, we must speak with Serpent Marshal Brookstone about assembling a search party. No stone can be left unturned. That soldier is the key to finding the missing prisoners, I just know it. You wish to capture the soldier you encountered in Bittermill. Well, you should know I've already dispatched a reconnaissance team. After reading Lieutenant Mulco's report, I thought it prudent he be apprehended immediately. However, therein lies the rub. We lack the manpower to sufficiently survey the area. In fact, I was just deliberating over who I should call back to make a sweep of Owen's stash. There's no need of that, sir. Shara and I will go. I realize I am not the ideal scout to assist in this, but we have to find him. Don't be overeager, child. On your guard, Shara. I have a bad feeling about this place. We found him, Shara. We've really found him. What? Where are you? Ugh! His wounds. If he's not treated soon, he won't be telling anyone anything. He's like to bleed out if left unattended. Go and tell Serpent Marshal Brookstone we found him, and he needs medical assistance before he can be moved. My men have searched high and low, and yet there is no sign of this runaway soldier. You found him at Owen's stash. Say no more. Attention, this is Brookstone speaking. The subject has been found at Owen's stash. I repeat, the subject has been found at Owen's stash. He is severely wounded and in need of medical attention. Excellent work. Perhaps now we can finally get to the bottom of all this Bittermill business. By all rights, my men should be back by now. Go and see if you can find Lieutenant Mulko. I want to know what those Garlean dogs were up to. Ah, Shara, I'm happy to report that we managed to bring him back safely, and not a minute too soon. I plan to speak with him shortly after returning, but the healers won't permit anyone to see him until he's settled and the bleeding stopped. I imagine we won't have to wait very long. Seems he's finally fit to speak. I don't expect you to be grateful, but I'd like to remind you that you likely wouldn't be standing here if we hadn't found you in that cave. Now start talking. What were you doing out there at Bittermill? We were looking for someone. An escapee from one of our facilities. He'd lost his memory and was otherwise mentally unstable, so we knew he couldn't have gone far. I believe the man you're speaking of is already in our custody. We found him seeking shelter in Bittermill. He claims you captured him, though he cannot recall where. So he returned to Bittermill after all. I guess the past came back to haunt him, even if he can't remember it. Listen, my superiors are not like to show you any leniency. If you tell me everything you know, I will do all within my power to see your life is spared. Do we have a deal? Miss, I may be dressed in their uniform, but you'd be mistaken to believe I owe the Garleans any allegiance. I will gladly tell you. 20 years ago, a group of prisoners was relocated to Bittermill to assist in the Garleans' more unorthodox experiments. They wanted to create a new chemical weapon, one which would leave the buildings untouched while killing any and everyone it came into contact with. Black Rose, I believe it was called. That's horrible. Their intention was to drive back Eorzean forces without wasting any of their own on the front lines. Of course, they wouldn't know if it really worked without willing volunteers. And what better place than a village long since abandoned by its people? Not a single prisoner survived. Their tests proved a resounding success. It was only a matter of time before Black Rose would be deployed. Or so they thought. To the surprise of many, the project was shut down before Black Rose could ever be used. The order came from the legatus of the 14th Legion, Imperial Legion, and interim leader of the Ala Mhigo province, Gaius van Baelsar. The Black Wolf would not allow the senseless murdering of Eorzea's people. He saw them as future subjects of the Empire to be ruled, not savages to be slaughtered. Everything was to be destroyed, but the man behind the project would not see his work wasted, and ran off with the last remaining samples of Black Rose. He was promptly apprehended, but he had already hidden away his work. They used every heinous tool at their disposal to make him talk, yet he would not, or rather could not, tell where he hid it. The doctor had already gone mad and couldn't remember a thing. I can only assume one of his experiments went wrong and ruined his mind in the process. Then that means the man we found earlier. Aye, that's him. Grillar Ramirez, former head of the research for 14th Imperial Legion. My orders were to capture Grillarmai? I think it's Grillarmai, something like that, and destroy whatever evidence remained of his work in Bittermill. We failed to find anything, but it's there. You can't kill that many people and leave nothing behind. I can't believe that incoherent mess of a man was a scientist in service to the Garleans. I think we've heard enough. Thank you for your cooperation. What do you think, Shara? Part of me wants to believe it isn't true, but I see no reason why he would lie to us. There has to be some way to substantiate his story. If the entirety of Bittermill was used for the experiments, it would be no easy feat to do away with the evidence of such a massive operation. No, there would have to be some lingering traces of their work, and if they couldn't dispose of it, their only option would be to bury it. Shara, we have to go back to Bittermill. This is the very first time we learn of Black Rose. But it becomes a very significant part of the plot in Shadowbringers. So it's a good thing that you sit here and do these quests. So you get some context as to what Black Rose is, where it came from, and all this stuff. Which is probably why all these are blue exclamation point quests, despite only the first one giving you your Aether Current. Alright, let's split up. There has to be something here, and I'm not leaving until we find it. Alright, it has been a hot minute, but I think... Aha! Possibly. Your digging reveals a small metal container, though you probably shouldn't touch it. General Mulko will want to know what you found. I knew it. I'm glad my memory served me well, even though it has been a year? Maybe not quite a year. It's been... No, it has been a year. It has been at least a year. Wow. Since I did these quests. Anyway. You found something. A metal container. Could it be the missing sample of Black Rose? So he was telling the truth after all. There's no time to be sentimental nor hasty. Any mishaps in handling the container could prove disastrous. Let's report back to Serpent Marshal Brookston. That is a big bear. Lieutenant Mulko reporting, sir. We discovered the identity of the man we thought to be one of the missing prisoners. He is Grillamai, former chief research for the 14th Imperial Legion, who oversaw the manufacturing of a chemical weapon known as Black Rose. After a thorough survey of Bittermill, we discovered what we believe to be a sample of this weapon. We'd like to request assistance. Attention, this is Brookstone. A container we believe to contain a Garlean chemical weapon has been discovered at Bittermill. I need you to get out there and retrieve it immediately. As for the missing prisoners, they were used as test subjects for Black Rose. There were no survivors. Sir, I don't believe we should allow the risk of such a weapon falling into the wrong hands. I agree, Lieutenant. After the weapon has been safely moved to a secure location, rest assured we will see to its disposal. As for Grillamai, his fate resides with the Council. Considering the weight of his crimes, his punishment will be quite severe. I almost pity the man, but memories or no, his crimes cannot be excused. Lieutenant Mulko, Shara, you have done well today, and I'm sure you both are quite tired. Go and rest, you've earned it. Actually, I think I'll be heading back to Gridania to write up a report. The events of Bittermill need to be recorded, and we might prevent such atrocities from happening again. I wish I could accompany you a while longer, but I'm sure the Great Griffin's Bane is needed elsewhere. Thank you again for all your help. I look forward to adding your feats of daring to our records someday. And there we have it. That was perhaps the most important series of side quests in the entire game of Final Fantasy XIV, in my opinion. If you don't go out of your way to do any side quests except the bare minimum to fly, I highly recommend that you do those at the very least. Just the whole blue exclamation point plus quest thing. Do them all, because it's very important that you get this context on Black Rose. In the meantime, I have been streaming for quite a while. Of course, the side quest chain took a bit. So, next time, we will meet up with Alphino and the rest in Limsa Mensa. In the meantime, thank you for watching. Never cease to be amazing, and bye for now.